Click.
Hey guys, sorry, it's the first day of EGX. I finally made it here. My morning's been a bit, but we won't talk about that. I finally made it here, and I've made it to, finally, in the dark, the wonderful guys in charge of Project Zomboid. So you guys are the Indie Stone.
Yep, that's right.
Tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do as part of Project Zomboid.
Well, this is a like a survival game we've been making for a few years now, and it basically says you're in the middle of a zombie apocalypse in a top-down, old-school, isometric kind of view, and you scavenge, you build, you survive, whatever you can, basically, to attempt to stave off death.
We've got a very RPG bent to the game compared to like the more shooty PvP games. It's more about skill systems and deep mechanics and like geeky hardcore sort of isometric zombie survival. So
it's actually one of the things that drew me to it is you guys have got this sort of top-down isometric, really sort of almost retro, because obviously it's all pixel art, but it feels very kind of retro and it feels very old school.
Yeah.
What made you guys decide to go sort of the other way with the zombie game and stay away from the shooter and move more towards your skill progression, that kind of thing?
Well, we made it before the rest of them. Yeah, we've actually been out since 2011, so like before us it was things like the brilliant Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead and Rogue Survivor and like more roguelikes and things like that. So in many ways we felt like we were going to step up like with the graphics, and then obviously now like with like the 3D like the super atmospheric 3D games and stuff, we want to get the depth in because we obviously don't quite have the first person immersion stuff going. So we're going for depth and like the more hardcore sort of element. So it's just the visuals fit that style. It's like harks back to all the old deep RPGs and stuff. And
I think the thing that makes it more hardcore for me personally is that you bring in sort of your friends. You bring in who you would take on yours, because we all joke about it. We all joke about who would you take on your zombie apocalypse journey. Yeah. And it turns out that my mates aren't the greatest people to take along. So I'm having to reconsider. What made you guys stray away from like being on your own and it being sort of gritty loneliness? What made you guys go towards looking at potentially bringing in your zombie apocalypse team? Was that always the plan, or?
Well, multiplayer is always on the roadmap, but I think that it's cropped up a lot earlier in the roadmap than we expected, simply because we the more we worked, the more we realised that it was something that we could manage earlier.
Yeah, we thought that the NPCs would go in quite quickly and the multiplayer would take years of work, and it ironically turned out to be the opposite way around, because the NPCs we want to do something special with them, so we're keeping them back until the special we want to do.
Now that's something I actually want to talk to you guys about. Is the idea of this the sort of the fact that the metaverse. There we go. I want to say multiverse, but I think I've been watching too much TV recently. So this metaverse with your sort of dynamic NPCs. I'm a big fan of narrative. I like my stories. Do you think that's going to drag more people who are a little bit shy of sandbox in? Where do you plan on going with that?
Well, there's probably more your question.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a big fan of Crusader Kings 2, which is where Well, that's a lot where the narrative ideas come from. It's the idea you have quite a relatively simple system with characters with different traits, and those traits bounce off each other. So someone who's greedy doesn't like someone who's generous. Someone who's angry. Someone who's proud doesn't like humble people. There's all these different things that like little stories can trigger off these combinations, and it just leads to all these sort of really rich stories that just come from nowhere. That not even in the game design per se. It's just a sequence of events happen that create this completely unique story, and that's what we want for our game is making stories so people are describing how they survived, and we want the events in the stories just to seem like you would get in a single player game, just like a really rich zombie survival story, the NPCs are a huge part of that, aren't they?
So, but they're still like quite a way off. Well, not there. It's not this year anyway, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
And so in the meantime, I've been working with one of our modders is now part of the team. Turbo is just over there, and so we've got a massive like a radio and TV system, and so it'll be going into our next build 33, which is pretty much ready. And so that'll be like there's tens of thousands of words of news reports on the radio, multiple channels reporting on the same events, and all so you can hear about what's going on in the world outside the playing area. And then obviously the more the more when the MPs come in, they'll talk about those events that's happening in the outside world, and we're just basically trying to make it as close to the real feeling of being in a zombie apocalypse as you possibly can. Those amazing opening moments of a zombie movie, or The Last of Us and stuff like that.
And of course, those awful moments where your friends, the people that you think are your family, let all the zombies into your base.
Yeah, that too. I mean, you get someone that doesn't really understand the game. They go, "Oh wow, I've got a gun." They start shooting it off. No one lasts long, do they? No.
Yeah, it's like one of the first examples we thought of in our head for the direction we wanted to go with the NPCs ultimately was like, we had this idea of having a kid who kept leaving doors open and was clumsy and making loads of noise, and it was like, right, this one's going to get us killed. And then just saying, like, well, I'm going to take them out, we're going to go and hunt for some food, get them around the corner, shoot them in the back of the head, go back. Oh, I got eaten by zombies.
That sounds awfully familiar.
It does crop up in multiplayer as well, right?
So I'm not going to lie, that sounds so familiar. That's really
it's
clever.
good.
No, you guys sound like you've really got the idea of immersion on sort of a better scale than just a first-person camera, and that's really refreshing to see. So you started dev sort of 2011.
Yeah.
Been in dev a little while now.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you guys have still got a lot to do. So, what's the roadmap from here? Where do you guys go from here?
Just covered before. What we've said is to get to when we come out of early access, we're going to have the feature complete with everything we promised to begin with, and so basically we've ticked off everything now apart from vehicles and NPCs.
Yeah.
There's nothing. Yeah. And obviously we're filling in in the meantime we're filling in the gaps with lots of other cool stuff.
Once you put vehicles in, please put tricycles in. Please let me escape from zombies.
I'll have a chat with the animators.
Please let me run away from either on a tractor or on a tricycle, and that would be perfect. That'd sum up how I expect my my experience to be. But so. Yeah.
And we've got I think we probably build 34 is going to be the animation revamp as well, which will see combat made a bit less clunky and whatever. So there's loads of stuff to come, but it's all good stuff, and it's just improving on a game that's already pretty good. So.
Excellent news. All right, one last thing before I disappear on you guys. So I figure there's no better way to sell a game than through the sound design, because sound design is ultimately one of the most important things in a game, right? Right. So what is your favorite sound effect from the game as it stands so far? Or maybe one we haven't heard yet. That's
actually a good. Well, we may as well talk about it. Yeah.
Which one?
We're in the next version. We're hoping to get out a build with Fmod, which is like the AAA sound system. So we've basically rejigged everything. So we've got like the hum of the refrigerators and creaks of doors, and we've got like. We just basically all the ambient sounds are actual 3D sounds. We're doing a lot with the sound for the next version. We're doing a complete overhaul, frankly. So it should echoes when you're in big rooms and all this stuff. So we hopefully the sound will add a lot to the sound.
But my actual favourite noise is the when you turn the corner and there's a zombie there and it just goes like that.
Sorry, can I have that sound effect once more?
It goes
Cool. All right, and if you had to narrow it down to one sound effect and you can't have the going around the corner and the zombie, what would you pick?
The death screams.
Make me a death scream. Go on, don't break my microphone, but make me a death scream.
I didn't. That's not it. I didn't realise I was to act it out when I said that. The click of the buttons. Click. Okay.
Yes, there we go. All right, you guys are my first sound effects of EGX. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. So you guys are the Indie Store and your project's on the way. Where can we find your game?
On Steam, early access.
Cool.
Straight away now, on PC, Mac and Linux.
Yes.
Oh, on Linux too.
Oh yeah, we love those Linuxes. Yeah.
You heard it, Linux fans. You get in there. You get in there. Guys.
Sysadmin would kill us if we didn't have Linux support.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for hanging out with me, guys. You guys are amazing. I'll see you again soon.
Thank you.